Darwin taught us many things about evolution, but there is one tree that he did not climb. With this series, we seek to answer these questions and unravel the mysteries of Hello and welcome to the first episode of my new World of Tanks series, Evolution of a Noob. Now I'm just going to come right out and say it. I didn't really like this game. I played it a few times. I mean, I played War Thunder before this, so I'm used to like one-hit kills and everything like that. And then I played this and I thought, health bars? Ugh. And the graphics? Ugh. But then I started watching some videos on YouTube, and I found that yeah, that says everything right there. But I watched videos online, and I thought it looked pretty fun, so I thought I'd give it another shot, try and actually put some effort at getting good at it, and show you the results along the way. So this is the first game in the Cruiser Mark III. Another one of the main reasons I wanted to play World of Tanks was for the British tank line. Just want to play in British tanks, they're so awesome. And because I'm Canadian, that's pretty much the only kind of tank we use. I mean, other than the Leopards. Actually, we may not even use the British tanks anymore. I don't think we use... we used to have Centurions, I believe, but don't think we use them anymore. I think some Mark II variants of the Leopard and a bunch of modified, modernized, in quotations, Mark I Leopards. But anyways, back to the Cruiser. The Cruiser's story starts with a man by the name of Sir Lieutenant General Guilford Le Quinsey Martel. I've probably pronounced that wrong. Anyways, he was made Director of Mechanization at the War Office in 1936, and while he was employed there, he witnessed a demonstration of the Soviet BT tank. The BT line of tanks, which used a suspension system that he, in a big way, pioneered. When he got back, he urged the British government to create a tank based on a similar suspension system with a light aircraft engine that would have similar handling characteristics to the BT-5 and BT-7. Come on, come out. You know you want to. And we wait. Well, let's move up here. And you can see in the game that this thing is pretty quick. I mean, compared to a lot of the other early tier tanks that you can choose from, this thing's pretty fast. I mean, compared to the French tanks, oh, the French tanks are so slow. They have pretty good armor usually, but they're very slow. Alright, now we've got this. This could be a pretty big threat to me, so we want to focus on that. I want to try and get some cover behind this rubble. See if we can get another... Nice. Well, we can't really focus on the right... enemies to the right until we take this. Oh, there we go. Taken out. Okay, let's move back up here and see if we can't help out the guys in the center. Because we can get side shots on, let's say, this guy. No, that was a miss. I think it was a miss. I do really like this tank. I have the Mark IV too, but I find I always go to this one. Of course, in this match, I didn't have the pom-pom yet. That makes a pretty big difference, having that good old pom-pom. But this gun's still pretty effective. What do we have here? Taken. Yep, we're good. Okay, let's start heading. Let's... I don't know. I guess I'm indecisive right now. Let's head to the cap. Looks like there's somebody up there. But Yeah, there wasn't. In the end, the Cruiser Mark III didn't really see much action. Most of them were left in France by the British Expeditionary Force in their retreat. Uh, there were a few that were used in northern Africa and some that were also used in Greece, but I'm not sure to what success or what opponents they would have faced in Greece. I'm not sure. North Africa would have had tough competition. I probably would have been only good as a recon tank. And now I'm capping, and obviously this is going to be a win. One guy left. Seems to be probably on the other side of the map. Victory! And I'm at the top of the leaderboard. I think that was my first game at the top. And here we have the French Renault RT, or Renault, which is actually a fairly interesting little tank. It was a French light tank that served between 1917 and, surprisingly, 1949, as late as 1949. And it was actually it was the first proper tank in history. It was probably one of the most important tanks in tanking history, being the first tank with a fully rotating turret. Um, Now, where you start tier-wise in this game, it's a little bit out of date, and it's also rather slow, as you will soon see for a very long time. But that's okay, because it's an interesting tank. It was one of the first tanks that had the configuration of the crew at the front, the engine in the back, and a gun mounted in a fully rotating turret. It was produced by the French towards the end of the First World War, and was actually used in the First World War. Its first engagement was at the Second Battle of Mars. 30 were deployed successfully against a German advance, breaking the advance and thus proving its worth to the world. And it's a cute little thing, ain't it? It's got like a little tail with a head, and a little pointy 30mm, 20mm nose with a tumor growing out of its head. But yeah, I have quite a bit of fun in it, but it is slow. Now in this match, on this, I noticed that there are plenty of people taking up positions in that bush line where everybody always camps on this map to get people crossing that big field. And there were only 3 or 4 people going on the flank, so I thought I would join them on the flanking maneuver, which probably ended up being the slowest flanking maneuver in the history of warfare. Now, one little tip that I've learned, and I'll try and give you little tips like this along the way, is when you're trying to shoot at an enemy from a bush, in order to not be seen by that enemy when you fire, you have to make sure that you're not in the bush, but you're behind the bush. I think that's how it works. I don't think I penetrated their armor. So I think this would be a good position, because I'm sort of in this bush, but in front of the bush there's another bush and a tree. So, you probably can't see me. I really can't wait till I have that sixth sense ability. That talking. Who needs it? Now, we're not exactly running into stiff resistance on the flank, which is nice. But there have been a few people, and to be honest, most of the action happens towards the end of this match. The RT was also built under license by the Americans when they entered the war, because when they entered World War I, they didn't have any armor. Absolutely none, so they needed some pretty quick. And it was called the M1917 for them. I think they produced quite a bit. The French produced, I believe around 3,000 of the RTs. And I believe the Americans produced almost around as much. So we've got That's a lot of these little buggers hanging around. And one other interesting thing, rather odd, is in 1944 the Germans actually captured RTs in street fighting in Paris. But obviously by 1944 this thing was pretty outmatched by stuff like the Sherman M4 and the Stuart. So I'm sure it wasn't very effective. And I know by modern standards this thing seems rather goofy, but at the same time you really can't underestimate its importance in the history of tanks, because if it wasn't for this tank, you know, all of the ones that came after it just wouldn't have happened. And it's just interesting how fast they evolved. I mean, even from between, say, 1939 and 1945, one interesting story is when Germany was rearming, Hitler went to see a demonstration of a number of new prototypes, some which would eventually become the Panzer II. And he was so impressed by them, he thought they were just the most amazing things in the world, and they were just Panzer IIs. I mean, Panzer II is a pretty good tank, but when you compare it to what came about a number of years later, 4 or 5 years later, it's pretty fast evolution. Anyways, now we're coming in on the enemy base. They're capping right now. We're just trying to make our way into the cap. I'm trying to take out this guy. I really wish I could see the damn names. Okay, we're moving in now. Still moving in. Still moving in. Just gonna take a puff of my e-cigarette. Ah, hello. Let's see what we can do to you.
That one didn't go through.
Yeah, this little pea shooter doesn't exactly pack a big punch. Can't penetrate very much. Definitely not from the front armor. If I could get at them from the side or the back, that would be alright. But with the speed of this thing, I don't think that's going to happen. Unless by just luck. Okay, we got a few more. We need to get into this cap circle. Looks like they... Oh, we're capping. We managed to fight them off our cap, obviously. One thing I like about World of Tanks is how you only have... You know what's going on in the immediate area around you. Like right now, we're at the enemy cap, and there's still presumably a bunch of friendlies at our cap, but we have no idea what they're doing. And I sort of like that mystery, because if we were isolated here in the battlefield on the enemy flank, we wouldn't know what's happening over there. Now we got try to fight off quite a few guys here. Moving up now. Obviously the guy had to fall out of the cap circle, or he got killed. Either one. But we're gonna head up, try and take his place. Alright, let's see if we can...
Critical hit.
Yeah.
We didn't penetrate their armor.
It's a bit of an oxymoron. Critical hit. We didn't penetrate their armor. Yes, I know they were probably for different shots.
We didn't even scratch them.
Well, at least I'm shooting at stuff. That's the main thing. Shooting at stuff, good. Not shooting at stuff, not so good. Guys don't really seem to be putting up much of a fight. I don't think I've been shot at this whole match. But here we are at the cap circle, and we win the game. Spoiler alert. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have the score for that match. I don't think it was that impressive to begin with, but I thought I'd give you a good idea for where I'm at right now, rather than just showing you my absolute best game. So that's it for tonight, and I hope you stay tuned for next time. Please subscribe and please like. Good night.